one, I suppose, is that in just again showing how much care Mother gives and also how miraculous the things she does. I was expecting my second child and we had a seminar at Cowley Manor, and they gave me the bedroom next to Shri Majesty's because I was expecting, and the next morning after arriving I had just come out of the room and the room to Shri Majesty's, the door to Shri Majesty's room was open. And Shri Majesty asked whoever was with her, "Who's that outside?" And she described me physically, i.e. expecting very much so. I was about 8 months pregnant. And Rosie happened to be there as well. And Mother said, "Oh, is it Rosie?" And I called out saying, "No, Rosie, she's in Australia. Her daughter Sakanya got married in America a couple of years, or a year ago, I think." And I said, "No, Mother, it's Maureen." She called me in. And she worked on my Swadesh diet for 40 minutes and she said, "This will help your delivery." Well, Innocent was born in 40 minutes at home. So,
Yes.
even to that degree, she looks after us.
Pat? I don't know what I could say.
Any career
You haven't
advice?
talked about your marriage.
Yes, you haven't talked about
Oh, haven't I?
Don't say it like
I don't read it like that. I thought you wanted it to be quick.
No,
So-
it's fine. No, we wanted to be quick,
not
but
that
we
it's a
also
long
want
story,
memories.
but I can say that, I suppose.
Please do.
Yes, basically, Shri Mataji asked me if I'd marry Greshna just after I'd just got to know her and thought how nice it is to meet a yogini that I feel is just like my sister. And I thought, oh gosh, I thought, well, I don't really feel like she's someone I'd want to marry. And so anyway, I went into meditation, I felt the vibrations, and I felt the right heart really cool, and I felt the presence of Mahakali in my left side, and so I said, yes, okay, unsurprisingly. But then the message came back from Srimataji, you didn't say yes spontaneously enough. And so she kept me waiting for a week until she finally said, okay, I can marry her. But then the next problem was that she was married to somebody else.
in the past.
From the past. And what had happened was that she'd had an arranged marriage with a friend from West Germany, so she could escape from Poland, because at the time they couldn't leave. So they'd had this marriage. She'd immediately gone to West Berlin and gone straight to London and stayed there ever since. But her passport only lasted 3 months. That's all they'd give her. So it ran out. So she was an illegal alien. We had to somehow get past all these barriers. So somehow she managed to get through the court and get divorced without them discovering she wasn't supposed to be in the country. And her husband had disappeared in Kathmandu. And we had to send word to the embassy there to... that this marriage was going to be dissolved and everything. And then we had to go to the registrar and we had to somehow get married without her having any valid papers. And I looked at all different complicated ways of doing it. And in the end I thought, well, I'll just put a ban and hope for the best. So we just went there and I thought, well, all he's got to do is really identify her. They're not really immigration officials, but they act like it. And anyway, he went through the whole passport, wrote down all the numbers of the stamps and everything, and didn't notice it was 18 months out of date. It was amazing. And then, at the end of it, he obviously felt something was wrong, and he couldn't quite put his finger on it, and he did it all over again, and he still didn't notice. And so we got out, we got married. I put in for a special license, got it as soon as possible. My parents came, and we'd had our Sahaj marriage, and my parents came. And once they'd finished the ceremony, they said, normally the wife and the couple like to be seen signing the register here. And I looked round and Greshna was jumping up down on the chair, waving the certificate above her head. And I said, God's sake, let's get out of here. And my parents are saying, what's going on, what's going on? And we escaped and we were right. We got a cross letter from the Home Office, but since then it's been fine.
And you were married in Chelsham Road.
Oh, I was married in Chelsham Road.
You were married, and so it was probably the
Yes,
one of the
that's
first
We were the first one in Chelsham Road, yeah, but we were working in it all day. In the evening they just put plastic and bits of wood across and hung a few balloons around, and
And had a fire.
we had a proper marriage with
And you didn't have your glasses on, so
big
you're
hand
afraid
man.
you were going to fall in the fire.
Yes. Krishna sulked all the way through because she didn't think that her veil matched her sari. We had our first argument on the way back afterwards because I had no money. We had nowhere to go, so we went to Douglas's place. He said we could go and stay there. Someone lent me a van, which ran out of petrol in Baker Street at 11 o'clock at night. And we had our first argument because I refused to get out of the car still wearing my turban. And then what happened was we tried to get a taxi, and Krishna kept her veil down, and she got in the taxi, and the guy drove off with her. You know, I was chasing her down the road because he thought that she was going off with him, and it was quite. Then we eventually got back, and I went back and picked up the van the next morning. So that was that.